got that. And you're going to clap, sir.
I'm gonna clap.
Well, okay. And then 3, 2, 1. There it is.
Read all about it. Read all about it. Hear ye, hear ye. Extra, extra. Raquel Welch is dead. God, I can barely wait to talk about that, but I guess we will. We'll wait for the obituary.
I did not hear you. What did you just say?
I teased that we lost a sexy legend today.
We did. We did.
Full disclosure to our listeners, we are taping this on Wednesday, the 15th of February.
Does not feel right.
It doesn't feel right, but I will be on a tour bus for the next 5 days, and probably, I don't think I'm going to have the space to do a 2-hour podcast from a bus with a bunch of
and you might be forever changed,
dangling by my face.
Yeah.
I just
Bert has a pretty big sack.
I imagine I'll see that this week. Is it a big sack?
Yes. It's not big. It's just the sack, though. He'll talk about it.
Well, apparently there's a lot of cold plunges on this trip, and
that'll help.
We're working out constantly and showering together, so we'll all see each other's cocks a lot.
When he and I did the cabin, his show, I was helping out, and there was a hot tub, and he would get in and out of the hot tub, and everyone was like, "Oh God!" and he would just die laughing.
You mean he'd get in and out naked?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he was naked a lot. Bobby Lee came up; they posed naked on a bearskin rug. I have that photo. He's posted it also.
Did you have no female crew members?
No, there were some, and I think they were asked, but in the beginning they all established that they're like, yeah, all in the name of comedy, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, Mindy Kaling kissed some famous actor on her TV show, and she talked about it on Conan O'Brien, and she's getting shit about it now.
What happened exactly?
There was an actor, and they were rehearsing a scene, and then she improvised a kiss where she leaned in and kissed him up pretty good. I forget the actor. He's like Guardians of the Galaxy actor. And
I think when you're in character, yeah. I mean, is he complaining?
Nope, but other people are saying that was harassment.
Well, they could shut up also.
Yeah.
What is it to them?
What do they care?
Did it harass them? Did it make them so uncomfortable they have to speak out about it?
Chris Denman is very upset about it. He thinks that she's a fucked up person, and
well, he thinks it should only go from male to female. That move.
Right.
I get that. You know what? I take it back. I'm outraged.
Lee Pace was the guy's name. And he's a hunky motherfucker. Super Bowl, you owe me some money, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
It was reduced. I got on a Zoom today, right? And this very high-up agent at CAA, arguably the biggest agency, or one of, for sure, used to be. And all of a sudden they're like, Gibbons, I just have, two of us on here, big Philadelphia fans, and we've been angry and seething and all this. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I know that. I'm like, they played Sunday, right? So I made jokes, but I didn't know if they listened to this podcast. I don't know if a mutual friend, which we do have a mutual friend, told them how much I hate Philly.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden it was an 11-person Zoom, and the first 2 minutes were about me in Philadelphia.
Yeah, you've certainly drawn a line in the sand. You've been very aggressively insulting to the people of Philadelphia.
I mean, not so aggressive as like flipping over cars before the game even started, which they were doing. And they've been miserable their whole lives. They're not just miserable now.
I'll tell you what, I love Philadelphia people. I love the Philly women. They're loud. They're loud and fun. Drunk.
So, yeah, anyway, wait, but we had 2 bets, so I reduced how much I owe you, right?
All right, so the first bet was $50 on the under-over. I took the over. So you lost that. I forget, what was the final score? The final score was, the under-over was 50.5, and I think it hit at least 53.
Oh, no, it went
Chris
higher
Denman's
than that.
writing down. It was 38.35. Oh, God, so it was 73.
Yeah, no, dude, it sailed. Even in the second quarter, you knew it was done.
Yeah. But you won
heading
some money
that way.
back because I bet you $20 that it would go to overtime, which I missed that win by 11 seconds. It would have gone into
I
overtime.
gave you 8-1 odds on that
Yeah.
because I looked it up. There's never been overtime in a Super Bowl, but then they looked at overtime, percentages in regular season and in playoffs,
Yeah.
and it landed at about a general 8-1 or something.
Yeah, that was a good bet. I really
Wow. I mean, it so easily could have done that. That would have been 160.
Yeah, I know. 160 plus the 50. I would have gotten some of my 550 back from you this year that I lost on the Tom Brady bet.
You should have bet me 50 because then it would be like, yeah,
$400. Yeah.
Crazy.
So how was your Valentine's Day?
Uneventful.
Did you FaceTime with your loved one?
FaceTime, yes, sure. I didn't think late, but like sent a gift and then FedEx, no signatures required, but you know what? The driver thinks so. And with three people home, left a note on the door. Sorry, no one's here. So and 3 people were home. So all that's going on. It's real fun. It's super fun.
What did you send?
It makes me resent. I already resent the holiday.
Yeah.
It makes me just resent it so much more.
What did you send?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, God.
It's not there yet.
Jesus, sounds like sexy underwear to me.
You know what I did? I got creative. You want to know? Well, there's a running joke. I send flowers. I have Whole Foods deliver flowers, but that means she has to put them together. Anyway, which I think is it's now a running joke. But I sent a bunch of items, and they appear very random. And she's like, oh, is this like, he also sent me a recipe? Because she starts pulling out all this stuff. But basically what I did is I searched for keywords in a local in Whole Foods, and hearts of palm, hearts of celery, sweet peas, sweet this, love whatevers. Like I looked for love, sweet, heart, all that type of stuff. Sweet potatoes got sent, and so she didn't catch on.
This is what you did yesterday?
Bag. Huh?
This was yesterday?
Those arrived on time.
Oh, my God. Mike, so romantic and funny.
Creative. She thought it was creative.
That's great.
But really, in the end, what was my gift? Sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Dirty, misshapen sweet potatoes.
Did you send pussy willows and apricots?
I did not. I didn't think. Wait, why apricots?
Because it looks like a vagina.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I could look up the list. I got kind of creative. Anyway, as I look it up, how was yours?
It was good. I bought her some fucking grocery store flowers and a good card, and then she got me a massage certificate, which we all know how the last one turned out.
Yeah, you bought her a good card. The card was good before you wrote something on it.
Yeah. Before I wrote, it was a papyrus card. And then I wrote some nice stuff. I'm very good with cards. I'm a card writer. I write some deep shit in there. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
And then we went out to dinner with this other couple who we love. Tommy and his wife. Tommy's good friends with Cheney and Dennis Gibbons. He's from Mill Valley, where those guys are from.
You double dated on Valentine's?
Always.
Weird.
Always.
What do you mean?
Think it should be a solo
always
night?
Is a joke. Huh?
You think it should be a solo night? Just one couple?
Yeah, I'm weird. I'm weird that way.
Huh.
Cheerios that were heart-shaped.
Nice.
Yogi tea, which is sweet lemon. I did do chocolate covered caramel. So that was in the middle of the road. Sweet Lauren's edible chocolate chunk cookie dough. Granola Love Crunch peanut butter. Rose prebiotic soda. Sweet kale. Sweet potatoes. Some flowers. Rose pure. Is it Castile soap bar of soap? Love corn. Sweet peas. You get the idea.
Jesus, how much did you spend?
Sweet Italian sausage.
No.
Well, hopefully. Or hearts of palm. Yeah. Yeah. What else we got here? Flowers, celery hearts. Kiss pomodoro sauce. Anyway.
Cocktail sauce?
Oh, that would have been a good one. All right, next year I'm going to make it all like sort of the double entendre puns.
Yeah,
I like
that's good. All right.
Yeah.
My mom, who my whole life, my brother and sister have deeply resented me because my parents loved me more. And they didn't really make a secret about it. They absolutely found me more charming, especially when I got older. I got into comedy, and they just thought that was the greatest. And I remember coming home in high school, and there was a book on the bed, on my bed, on the pillow, called The Favorite Child. And one of either my brother or my sister had left it on my pillow. And there was real resentment. And so that has shifted because now my mother, she stays with my sister in the summers. And my sister built an apartment in her basement for my mother. Her husband is my brother-in-law is a construction guy, and they built this beautiful apartment in the basement. And so she stays there, and then she's had some health issues that my sister has, because she's in New York, has dealt with it. And anyway, my sister's now the favorite child, and I was pretty sure about this. But then there was a Valentine's Day message that went out. I sent my mom a big thing of flowers, and I just got a picture of the flowers and a Happy Valentine's Day. That was it. That was the whole message. Then my mom accidentally CCs me on a text she sent to my sister, which said, "To my beautiful daughter with so much love, you're a shining example of what a daughter can be. Loving and compassionate, beautiful and good, honest and principled, determined and independent. You're a shining example of what every mother wishes her daughter were, and I'm so proud of you."
You don't write cards that well.
My sister writes, "Oh, thanks, Mom. That is beautiful. Heart. I love you so much." My mom writes, "Happy Valentine's Day," with an emoji with hearts in the eyes. So I write, "So I guess they were sold out of sun cards?" And my sister writes, "LOL, Mom loves me more. Awkward."
Yeah.
And then my mother writes, you are both one of the best." And then I wait. I let that sit. I didn't reply to anything for like an hour. And then I gave it a thumbs up. I didn't give it a heart. I gave it a thumbs up.
You are both one of the best is also a little cryptic.
No, my grandfather had this thing. My grandfather was from Ireland, and his big saying was he would tell people, "You're one of the best. You're one of the best."
Oh, okay.
So it was a play on that.
It's kind of like you when you're like one of my two favorite podcasts or whatever.
So so I'm planning, and my sister doesn't know this, but I'm going to fly down to Florida next month and surprise my mom and help her out a little bit. Stock the fridge, take her for some walks, get some stuff in order.
You know what's even a bigger surprise to your mom is that you're going to be in Florida all weekend and for like 4 or 5 days, and you will not contact her.
Yeah, that's what my mom needs to see Bert Kreischer's balls. That's perfect.
He's a Florida man. Oh, yeah. Are we going to have him try to do a Florida man that we're going to drop into this podcast?
Yes, we will. I will get something with him on video on my phone. We'll get a Florida man. I think the move is I'll have Bert describe an incident that he was involved in Florida, which would have qualified him for a Florida Man article.
He has no shortage of those stories.
Yes. So I'll get that on video and I'll send it in.
All right, sounds good.
And then I got a note from Steve Hall, who heard that I was going to be on this tour. Did I already re-up this? That I'm going on tour with Bert this week, and we're doing dates in Savannah, Orlando, Tampa, and then we're going to the Daytona 500. And there's going to be 4 of us on the bus, 4 comics, plus I guess a tour manager and maybe somebody else on this kick-ass bus. And I've never been on a tour bus, and I could not be more excited. I'm like a child going off to summer camp. So psyched. So
well, you're gonna get wedgies. You're gonna get wedgies. So it all tracks.
I'm gonna have a penis written on my forehead with a Sharpie. So this guy, Steve Hall, said, I've been fortunate enough to be on a tour bus a couple times. Here's some advice. First rule is no shitting on the bus. And that stresses me out. Because what if you need to shit? What do you do?
I think they wait till people fall asleep with their mouth open on Bert's bus. Pretty sure.
Second one is you have to sleep with your feet towards the front of the bus so you don't break your neck. And he says also talk to the bus driver. I used to sit up front for an hour or two on the overnight drives, and ours was Jimmy Buffett's driver. He'd been doing it since the 50s. He'd played gospel with Elvis. He left Mick Jagger behind because he was being a dick. He was awesome. Do those drivers make that stuff up, you think?
I don't know. Those are pretty detailed and hard to make up maybe. But you also want to keep the driver awake.
Yes.
I don't know how they do it.
I want the driver to play Tiny Dancer at some point, like in Almost Famous, and we're going to all sing it.
What lyrics, of course. I guess I'll talk about, I saw 2 good documentaries. Well, I didn't see the second documentary. I started it.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in entertainment, I guess.
Okay. Good tease.
Yeah, we'll move it down.
Good tease.
Huh? Yeah,
good
deep tease. Deep tease.
All right. By the way, shout out to all the great people that have been doing artwork on our logos and music for our theme song. We need some new stuff. So if you have some ideas for songs or logos, please send them in. If you're going to do a song, just a gentle reminder that we can't use copyrighted material, so no covers. Has to be original music. Somebody wrote in that they accused somebody of using a cover, and then I asked the person who wrote it about that, and he said absolutely not. He looked at the chord progression and realized it was close to a Taylor Swift song, but it was in fact not. So we cleared that up.
There's a guy on Instagram, and he talks about, I guess the technically correct word is interpolations, not covers. And it's when you use a chord progression, or in other words, you're not taking the master recording. You're just doing it. And we are so unaware of how many, like Radiohead, like Creep, like they had to add a guy's name to the writing credit of Creep because they got busted because it was too similar. Like there's so many. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. It's and songs and they've already settled.
Huh.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's really
there's
interesting.
only so many chord progressions that really work, But he referred to the chords that he had used. There was actually a term for the chord progression that he used, and he listed some other songs that used this chord progression as well. So there you go. This week's logo comes from Lauren Miggins.
Very cool. Logo. Yeah.
Really nice. It's our faces meshed together. The song was made by Bo Burnett, a very awesome techno mix.
Yeah.
Really well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren and Bo. Yeah.
We got a correction from Andy, who said, Greg, you flippantly said of Burt Bacharach, quote, he wrote really simple songs. I've never made a correction before, and I hope to never make one again. But
Well,
his
I'd
songs
stop
were
listening.
his songs were not simple at all. So many chord and key changes, so much going on, but I guess he did it in a way that made it seem simple. Maybe that's the secret to all good art. Yep. Maybe people listen to our podcast and it seems as if we've barely prepared and that we've spent no money on production.
It takes so long for us to get to that level of like undoing everything we know, undoing all the disposable facts, that we can just recall at any minute.
Stripping humor out of our punchlines, what you do to your hair, I should say undo to your hair. It's amazing.
Look at it.
Yeah.
So I saw this documentary on the Beach Boys, and Don was at a mixing board, and I think it was, Wouldn't It Be Nice, maybe? Anyway, no. What's the...
God Only Knows?
Yes, it was God Only Knows. And anyway, whatever. It was a Beach Boys song, and he isolated it, and Don was like, I've been doing this for 3 decades. I have no idea what that is. And he goes, is that a flute with like tons of reverb? And then other tracks, and he couldn't believe what was on there. And anyway, it eventually led to him saying, no one thinks this is a complex song. No one at all. Everyone thinks it's the simplest song, and that maybe is part of their genius, because no one also had heard anything like that. So at the same time, it was new and familiar.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on with Mr. Bacharach.
No, it's funny that, Pet Sounds is an album that, I was exposed to the Beach Boys in a, kind of like ancillary way growing up in New York. But it's not like when you live in California, they get played a lot more on the radio. And so I started to listen more. And then I'd heard Pet Sounds always listed at the top of the list of best albums of all time.
Yeah,
and I was like, The Beach Boys, like surfer music. So I listened to it with some headphones on, and I got goosebumps. And it carried me from beginning to end. And I've since gone on to probably listen to that album. I would say Blood on the Tracks, that album, and Astral Weeks by Van Morrison are the 3 albums I've now listened to more than anything in my life.
Yeah. No, those are forever. Those are forever albums.
Yeah. What are your 3 forever albums?
Oh, I don't know. And I think I have a lot more. I mean, there's definitely some Radiohead in there.
Clash.
Which truly, like the Bends. Yeah. I mean, London Calling's forever. London Calling's great because it's like you could just be like, yeah, I want to listen to like almost a full album that sounds like reggae. That's on there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Super hard punk, that's on there. Not super hard punk, but punk is on there. There's a lot of ska. There's a lot of different stuff. So that's what I like about it too. But also Don Was with the Beach Boys. At one point he isolated, he's like, so is that banjo and harmonica? And I'm like, I did not know those ever went into the studio in a Beach Boys session. It was just super, nuts how they approached, or, how Wilson approached songs.
Speaking of art that's made to look effortless, I will be performing at the Philadelphia Helium Comedy Club March 9th to the 11th. Los Angeles at the Improv, me, you, and Gibbons doing the St. Patrick's Day shows. March 17th, 2 shows. St. Louis, I will be April 1st. Chris Denman will be producing a stand-up comedy show that I will be in. So if it doesn't go well, we know who to blame.
Yes.
Escondido Grand Comedy Club in San Diego, April 14th through 15th. It's about an hour north of San Diego.
All right.
Columbia, Missouri at the Blue Note, May 19th. Kansas City, Argosy Casino, May 20th. Boston, Laugh Boston in June. I think it's the 9th to the 11th. And Chris Denman is writing Pronounce Argosy. Argosy
Casino.
Argosy Casino. Yeah. Please show up. They're paying me a lot of money.
The Blue Note is in Columbia, Missouri. Is that a jazz club, I assume?
I'm not sure, but Somebody told me they played there, and it's great. Named after that, but not a jazz club, Denman is saying.
Chris says it's a great venue.
Speaking of great, how about Green Chef? Damn.
Love it.
It's a CCOF certified meal kit company. They make eating easy with plans to fit every lifestyle. Keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to be more balanced. They offer a range to suit your preferences. 30-plus recipes weekly to choose from. You get everything you need. One-stop shop, quick breakfast, brunch kits, wholesome lunches. And maybe you want to double the portions in your weekly order. You can do it with one click. Customized, baby. USDA certified organic ground beef, chicken, sockeye salmon. Oh, God. 10-minute lunches.
Mediterranean, the keto meal kits, they're amazing. They're so good. I talked about it last week when Sophie and I were cooking side by side. I was doing one of their fish entrees, and Sophie was doing a healthy bowl.
Yeah.
And it was really fun cooking.
And also, like, people get concerned about packaging, but they are their meal kit is both carbon and plastic offset. They offset 100% of their carbon footprint, 100% of the plastic in the box. Their seafood meets the Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch rank. It's all done with a good heart. So, go to greenchef. Sorry about the pause there. There's a lot to read. Go to greenchef.com/papers60, the number 60, and use code papers60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Go to greenchef.com/papers60 and use code papers60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. Look, Green Chef, it's the #1 meal kit for eating well. Okay.
Oh, they take the busy work of the prep cook and the measuring all the portions. So you're really cooking this meal, which is fun, and all the busy work's done for you ahead of time. Like you're just focused on the cooking. It's great.
It's like Brian Regan has this funny routine about cooking shows. And he's like, yeah, anybody could be a great chef if you had glass bowls filled with the ingredients right in front of you. And you can just say, and then I dump this in. And it's literally that. It's literally that. He's like, if I had my own cooking show, it would be like 10 minutes of me trying to find the mixing spoon. And then 15 minutes where I realize I don't have eggs.
Yeah. No, we're
right,
messes.
front page.
And that's another thing. I mean, if it could help us.
Extra, read all about it. Extra.
Front page.
Front page.
UFOs, people.
We kind of snoozed on this last week, but we're going to do it this week.
The downing of 4 aerial devices by U.S. warplanes has touched off rampant misinformation about the objects, their origin, and their purpose, showing how complicated world events and lack of information can quickly create the perfect conditions for unchecked conjecture and misinformation.
Doesn't take much anymore.
The recent spate of UFO sightings came after NORAD officials changed their radar settings to be more sensitive to objects at high altitudes after discovering that China deployed a surveillance balloon in airspace above Alaska on January 28th. Intelligence officials gave senators a closed briefing on the mysterious objects Tuesday morning. After its conclusion, lawmakers from both parties reiterated calls for Biden to provide more detail about the shoot-downs. Quote, President Biden needs to get up in front of the people of the United States and tell them what he knows, and let's get this thing over with, said Senator Tommy Tuberville out of Alabama.
Tommy.
Get out there and tell people we're in good shape. We know what's going on, and let's get on with our lives. Am I going to be diddled by a little green man? I need to know.
Yeah. I mean, for Alabama, this is like War of the Worlds. They already believe the sky is scary. There's a man up there, and when you die, he might send you to an infinite fiery pit.
Yeah.
The sky is scary.
Oh, it's scary. It has giant, all-knowing beings in it.
Yes.
Are you kidding? And then there's a hell where you live for eternity in damnation. Just taken as fact.
Yes. And basically this is happening because they're just looking harder, you know. And Biden should address the findings of black lights that were shown on the bedspreads at Motel 6s. Why was this kept secret?
It's ridiculous. Listen, he's the only one that came out of the meeting and, of course, politicized it. Like, first of all, if Tommy Tuberville can't get on with his life, then don't share any more information. Keep him right where he is.
Keep him in the dark.
That guy ruins lives with his life.
Yeah, Tommy's. It doesn't take much for Tommy to go down the wormhole on a conspiracy theory.
Get out there and tell people we're in good shape. Oh, like he would take that. That first thing he says is, "We're not in good shape. We need a new president."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the former Auburn football coach.
Oh my God.
Here's a funny story. A woman hoping to catch a Pokémon on Sunday instead caught sight of a man's genitals when he exposed himself to her in Pine Brook. Antonio Orono.
All right, I never thought I'd want to play. Now I want to play.
Antonio Orono, 25, is charged with indecent exposure and open lewdness. She told officers she went to an area to chase a Pokemon, and she said Orono approached her car, knocked on her window, and then pulled his underwear down after she did not unlock the door. Orono told the police he had urinated in the area and believed he had been spotted by a woman in a vehicle. So he forgot to put it away. I do that. My wife gives me shit all the time. I forget to put my clothes away. I forget to put my drugs and my porn away. And sometimes you just forget to put your penis away.
It happens.
Yes.
It happens. I might go look for a Pokemon, I don't know, at a strip club.
Sure.
And then I have an out. I have an easy out.
I mean, it sounds like she did spot a Pokemon. Aren't they like these puffy, flesh-colored looking creatures that spit?
Yes.
Yes.
My understanding is that's exactly what they are.
Maybe she got her apps confused. She thought she was on Pokemon Go, but she was on Grindr.
And what do you do? How do you touch them? Literally, I'm not even, forget the the double entendre thing. When you see a Pokemon in an alley, right? Like, let's say you're doing one of these hunts. What do? Do you put your phone near it and then you get credit for getting it? I don't even know how it works.
I'm not sure. I think you just see it and then you go back to your mother's basement.
That's when I knew my sitcom was in. Well, that's how I knew my sitcom was really in trouble. The writer's room, I'd say 3 or 4 of the young writers in there couldn't wait till we took a break to go look for Pokemon in Studio City.
No kidding.
I'm not. I wish I were kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's grounds for being fired.
It's ridiculous. And then, of course, you can't make fun of them and shame them in front of everybody anymore because it's probably going to lead to a lawsuit.
Yep.
All right. Here is a story. This is not the last we're going to hear of this story, man. I think this is the new issue. So the headline read, "She discovered a naked video of herself online, but it wasn't her." This is the trauma of deepfake porn. QT Cinderella is a fan favorite Twitch streamer who is known for wholesome gaming and baking content. But late last month on January 30th, a fellow streamer briefly followed a browser window that featured a website that creates AI-generated explicit content of women, including female streamers. On the site, deep fake porn of the 28-year-old could be found, and since then, she says, her name, her face, and her brand have become associated with pornography. While many U.S. states have laws against, quote, revenge porn and non-consensual nude images, only 3 states specifically include deepfakes, and that's California, Virginia, and Texas. So just to explain what's going on here, the technology has become so good, you can take anybody's face, you can take an animal's face at this point, any face, and cover another face, and through rendering these, it'll make it seem like it's that new face on the body.
It's amazing. I mean, a couple of geeks in a basement can now do in an afternoon what it took a pimp weeks and mountains of meth to accomplish in the past.
You know, and the implications are crazy. I mean, this is just in porn, but it's like you could also have Trump or Biden say whatever you wanted them to say. I mean, the deep fakes with
this
Tom
could start
Cruise.
wars. This could start wars. If you get, Putin saying something, or, the head of Israel, who's the prime minister of Israel right now, Netanyahu. If you get Netanyahu saying something.
Yeah. No, Chris is talking about Tommy Tuberville. You get him to say something smart, maybe.
Right.
But no, like for instance, in many wars, there's everyone's trying to steal and coded messages, and sometimes they were intentionally fake, and those were all like coded and even telegrams, whatever it was. Well, now, it'll be video, and you'll see the person saying it.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the porn element of it. No, I'm sure all these guys are putting like ex-girlfriends and all of that stuff. But the sickest thing is then they're putting it out there.
And America is fucking dumb. There are so many people that take it at face value. There's all these C-SPAN clips of like AOC walking up to somebody and saying something that she's clearly not really saying, but you would be hard pressed to tell that it's not fake.
Oh, if you don't think AOC's head is on porn, you are crazy.
Oh, really? Hold on a second. I'm so into her. She's so hot.
Sure. There's tons of it.
Yeah.
Be
a graduate.
Anyway. What's that? Oh, yeah.
Be
she
a graduate.
Is. That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, get ready for a lot more of this deep fake porn stuff. Already there's sites, and they say up front, I think they're very open about deep fake, but then it'll be the hottest actresses out there on porn bodies.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of porn, good news for Gibbons.
All right.
So we're sending out good wishes to our friend Dennis Gibbons, who is getting knee surgery this
He had it.
Thursday.
He had it Thursday.
Yeah, he will have had it by the time you hear this on Thursday.
Yeah.
So if you want to wish him well, he's at DGubs, DGUBS on Twitter. Send him some love.
Yep.
He was
He's a really great athlete, and the knees did not hold up.
He was a fucking pain in the ass on Super Bowl Sunday. Jesus Christ. We played golf in the morning. Me, you, and Rabi, and who else was with us? Oh, Chris Cheney. And he was it Chris Cheney? Who was our...
No, Brian.
Brian.
Didn't Brian play with us?
Who's Brian?
Rabi's friend from Arizona.
No, it was me, you, Dennis, Rabi, and Gibbons.
Oh, no. Malloy was a no-show.
Oh, right. So, anyway.
But I paid for
him. He was just so, and I know he's got his surgery coming up, and he's stressed out, but it was just, he was being so aggressive. It was driving everybody crazy. And he would even catch us rolling our eyes and be like, what? What did you just say? And it was like, what did we say? What wouldn't we say? After how you're behaving, you're berating everybody constantly. Was it just me, Mike?
This is the best part. He is now in pain, on pain meds, with his leg up, listening to you say this. He hates being inactive.
Yeah.
He's just like me, and I think you. He's not going to be a good patient.
No.
And he's now listening to this.
Yeah. But was it just me, or was he being particularly difficult on Sunday?
Good question. It was just you.
Oh, bullshit. You're just trying to make him feel better.
No, he was. He lost his temper a few times for sure.
He stormed off the course.
Yeah.
Not off
When
the
did
course,
that happen?
but no, after the round, he stormed off, and then he came back.
Okay.
That's a funny thing about Gibbons. He storms off, like he stormed out of Malloy's. We were watching the NCAA basketball finals, and he kept storming out, and then he'd come back, and you didn't realize he was back again until he started complaining about something.
No, he all of a sudden he's like, "There's the ref again." We're like, holy shit! Like he was in the room by the front door. We didn't hear him re-enter.
All right, let's get to some entertainment.
You got it, pal.
The King's Singers announced on Monday night that Pensacola Christian College had canceled the ensemble's schedule. I like that word, ensemble. A scheduled performance on Saturday, February 11th at short notice. In a statement posted to social media, the leading vocal group said they were deeply saddened by the cancellation. The school's justification for the cancellation, the singers added, was to do with concerns about, quote, the lifestyle of the group's members. It has become clear to us, the singers added, after several members of the public and students at the college contacted them regarding the cancellation, that these concerns related to the sexuality of members of our group.
Uh-oh. Sounds like some king on king action.
Yeah. So the church is now vetting other all-male Christian choirs for homosexual members. They're hoping they can have another concert in about 11 years.
I bet these priests would like to put some deep fakes, put some of these choir members' faces on some heterosexual porn.
Yeah, right.
As God wants.
Yeah, the priest that made this decision to fire them, he will instead spend the night teaching an 11-year-old how to masturbate.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, the usual.
You guys should swing by there. You, Bert, the bus. Take the bus to Pensacola. Get these fine gay gentlemen, allegedly gay gentlemen, on the bus to sing.
Speaking of Florida.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Oh, geez. Okay.
What?
Well, wait. Before we go to Florida, I mean, we're in Florida, but I'm just going to backtrack. So this documentary, and I know I'm a little late to it, but Everything That Breathes, it's on HBO Max. It's pretty extraordinary. And I am telling you, zero spoiler, it's in the first frame. What you see, even in the first few frames, is it's remarkable how beautifully shot, incredibly ugly settings. They just make these ugly settings. They find art in it. It's incredible. It's in India, and it's in really impoverished, areas, but also incredibly polluted. Anyway, I won't tell you what it's about.
Jersey Shore.
It's way, way worse than the Jersey. It's as if I'm going to try to be accurate. It's as if garbage hasn't been picked up in the Jersey Shore in about a month or more, and there's livestock everywhere in the streets, including giant cattle and all their excrement, and also seemingly everything's wet all the time with puddles, disgusting puddles everywhere.
So just putrid standing water everywhere.
Oh, I when I see it, I'm like, how are they not dying constantly by infection?
Yeah.
But anyway, this movie, though, is fantastic. It's nominated for an Oscar. And then I started Navalny, and I'm very late to that. And I've just started it. I'm about 30 minutes in. I felt myself, no fault of its own. I had already watched a documentary, and I started to get tired. I'm like, this deserves my full attention because it's so good.
Okay. I'll look out for it.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of interest in going to India. Never have.
Either do I.
People that go, though, say it's life-changing. But I don't need my life changed that bad.
Yeah. Do they mean for the better?
I think it gives you a perspective on the human condition, and I think that there's a spirituality to it that people find very moving.
Well, these guys that are in it, I mean, if they're, occasionally a documentary will win at the Academy Awards, and it happened with like Exit Through the Gift Shop, and then that character, who is not an actor, is on stage, and it's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
If the people, I'm going to keep it vague, if the people in this got up there, that would be I can already tell you, would be the highlight of the Oscars for me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Florida.
Yes.
Here you go.
Cape Coral man cracks a beer open during traffic stop.
Yes.
Just before midnight on February 8th, Lee County sheriffs approached a black Mercedes-Benz parked in the opposite lane. The vehicle was just sitting there, lights on. As they approached the vehicle, they found 40-year-old Michael Serrata sitting alone in the passenger seat. Beer cans littered the vehicle's floor and lined the front cup holders. 24 packs of Michelob Ultra and Bud Light were torn into. Deputies attempted to begin a line of dialogue, but according to the arrest report, Serrata was, quote, unable to speak due to his level of intoxication. As the sheriffs called for support, they heard him crack a beer open. When they tried to take the beer from him, he woke up. He began to fight back. At one point, deputies used their taser, but it had, quote, zero effect when striking Serrata's back. Deputies resorted to physical restraint until their support came, and now Serrata faces charges of DUI and resisting arrest.
Why pull out the taser? If you want to make him compliant, let him finish the beer. One more beer, he would have been gone, and they could have just carried him into the squad car.
Yeah, he's in the passenger seat. He knows the deal.
Yes.
But maybe he doesn't know he's in the passenger seat.
My wife was on a jury, and there was a case where a woman was found in her passenger seat, drunk, and in a parking lot with the car off. And she got arrested for DUI because they say that she had come from a strip club and somebody witnessed her driving, but when they got to her, but she got convicted of it.
Yeah, I remember hearing, I've actually never even been pulled over for DUI, but it's like, I heard something about the key, and this is probably wrong, but the keys can't be in the ignition or something like that. Like there was.
Okay.
So I wonder if people can write in, and I'm aware it's probably different from state to state, or there's probably 5 variations on this at least. But I'm also wondering, you see all these things that tell you do not do a field sobriety test under any circumstance.
Yeah.
But here's the tricky part. When they ask if you've been drinking, all lawyers' advice is to not answer that question. And don't say, I had a glass of wine at dinner, because now you've given them probable cause. You're supposed to say, well, why, officer? And am I free to go? I guess you're supposed to keep asking, am I free to go? And be very, very nice, because it's being recorded. But what do you say? Let's say you did have a wine at dinner.
Wait,
what
can we just say a preamble also? Don't drink and drive. All right, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I kind of was just saying, if you have a wine at dinner or whatever, let's say it's just that. What are you supposed to say if you're not supposed to say that?
Right. I just don't get it. I mean, I don't drink alcohol, so I don't understand that if you're going to go out and you're going to drive, just don't drink at all. Just say, I can't drink tonight, I'm driving. Maybe
I'll steal your line, which is, because you smell of beer when you drink non-alcoholic beer.
That's right. I once got pulled over at a, they had a, what do you call it when they would stop everybody on the street and check if you're drunk?
Yeah. DUI checkpoint.
Yeah, so I get to a DUI checkpoint, and the officer told me to roll down my window, and he put his flashlight on my beer. It was a non-alcoholic beer, and he's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Non-alcoholic." And he kind of got stuck, like he was gonna say something like, "You can't have that," and then he just kind of got flustered, and I drove away.
Here's the logic, because at first blush, you might say, like, well, that's a great place for someone to put their beer. But why wouldn't you put it in a Pepsi can?
Right, right.
Why flirt with the idea that it's a beer?
Yeah. I should have gotten a DUI a couple times, but I skirted it. Back in the 80s, they didn't fucking bring you in. They used to send me home. They said just drive straight home. Let's do some sports. JJ said, holy shit, man, you were one random call away from maybe getting the game to overtime. You predicted that the game would go to overtime. I truly believe if the refs let them play the way they let them play all game, they wouldn't have called that penalty that allowed Kansas City to run out the clock before the field goal. It was a really bad call, that holding call. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even close.
I loved it.
Yeah, so that was, I mean, I can imagine Philly. Look, the losing team is always going to look for calls that affected the game, but that one truly affected the game. I'll give them that.
Right. I couldn't believe how it was approaching overtime. Like, it was almost certain at one point.
Yeah.
And, God, and you called it. Worse than the money is you would just be, you called it. You'd be right. I don't like that.
No. All right, let's get to science and technology. We're ripping through it this week because it's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. We're not ready for this. Potentially
Science, tech,
hazardous. Huh?
Science, tech, and health.
Well, we're going to limit it to science, although it looks like tech too. No, it's science. A, quote, potentially hazardous asteroid, twice the size of the World Trade Center, will shoot past Earth tonight. So the reason I grabbed this is we're back to comparing things to the World Trade Center.
Yeah, right. This
I
is just
also
going to make Al Qaeda take a shot at it. So heads up at Logan Airport.
I don't know.
Heads
I
up
think
at
we
Logan
should
Airport
retire
this
that
week.
one.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said heads up at Logan Airport.
And there are bigger buildings in Manhattan. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Are there? I think there are now, like in Midtown.
Yeah, I think there's one building in Midtown that's now bigger.
Anyway,
they fucked up the building. It's like creaking. It was poorly made. Yeah. It's this really thin, tall building, and people don't want to live in it. They paid millions of dollars for apartments, and it makes all this noise.
I don't know how buildings don't creak. I mean, I forget what it was. Was it like 18 inches? But there's the expected swaying that happens with all these buildings. I don't know how swaying doesn't wreak havoc.
I know.
On, and create the glass, the framing, all of it from creaking. I have no idea how that works.
Well, there's a building in San Francisco that's leaning, and it's leaning more every year, and it's fucking huge.
Don't worry, the earthquake will set it back straight up into the air. But listen to this asteroid at its closest approach, and they have a long number identifying what this asteroid is. It will be about 2.8 million miles from Earth, or 12 times the average distance between Earth and the moon. And it does not pose a threat to our planet. Scientists aren't sure exactly how big the asteroid is, so anyway, they go on. But it's basically, it's bigger than the World Trade Center.
3,100 feet.
3,100 feet across. It'll be about twice as wide as New York City's One World Trade Center is tall. But they talked about it's identified. The reason it made the news is it's a close to Earth. There's like a CE. I thought I put it in here. I guess I cut it out. But there's a determination. So this is determined as being close to Earth at 2.8 million miles.
Yeah, right. And they know exactly to the second when it's going to pass. And it's like, how the fuck do they know this? Like, I can't remember what day the garbage truck goes past my house so I can put out my garbage cans. I can't figure out when the 6 train is
Chinese
arriving at
balloon
Union
right above
Square.
our heads.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We're not great with science.
No. This day in history. (1942).
Yeah.
My mom was born in 1942.
Yeah.
What year was your mom born?
44.
Oh, what a young spring chicken.
By the way, that I forget what it was. I was whatever signing up to some website or whatever it was. Anyway, there's security questions, right? And how are you with those security questions? They're like, your favorite color. I'm like, gee, do you have a favorite color? Maroon. But that's not a choice.
No, mine is green. Look at the wall behind
All
me.
right. And you don't think there's ever a time where you'd be like, oh, wow, did I say blue?
Yeah. No, I would always say green.
Oh, favorites. There's so many that I don't know the answer to, or that maybe I said this. Like,
The
it's
color
just
of your
vague enough.
first house. What color was your first house? They ask you that all the time.
Yep. So this was another one. What is your mother-in-law's maiden name? I'm like, what?
Ryan.
You know that.
Ryan, yeah.
Is that her name now?
No, she has her married name, even though she's divorced.
All right. Yeah. So you got that.
And what's your mother's maiden name?
Oh, I know that. I mean, that's a hugely popular one. But they asked a ton. I'm like, Jesus, I really got to get to know my family better.
What was your grandmother and grandfather's first names?
I do know that. It was Michael and Elizabeth.
Oh, you were named after your grandfather. And your
Yeah.
wife was named, and your ex-wife was named after your grandmother.
Yeah, that's an easy way to remember it.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Did they
I
also
don't
divorce?
know. Huh?
Did they also divorce?
No, but they also had a bad marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad in
So
what
they
way?
had that. They just weren't quitters. You know, just I don't think there was a lot of love. There was, hitting the kids in the house going on. And
Yeah.
they were both immigrants. One was from a farm in Nova Scotia, the other was kicked out of Ireland basically.
And how many kids did they have?
3.
John, Michael,
And Mary.
and Mary. Oh, that's right, Mary. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway,
right.
let's get to Asians.
So here's what happened on February 19th in 1942. FDR ordered Japanese Americans into internment camps. The document ordered the forced removal of resident, quote, enemy aliens from parts of the West vaguely identified as military areas. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941, Roosevelt came under increasing pressure by military and political advisors to address the nation's fears of further Japanese attack or sabotage, particularly on the West Coast, where naval ports, commercial shipping, and agriculture were most vulnerable. Included in the off-limits military areas referred to in the order were ill-defined areas around West Coast cities, ports, and industrial and agricultural regions. I remember being at a donut shop by the Fox Lot. You know the Fox Lot was a Japanese internment camp
No.
in LA? Yep, the entire Fox Lot was converted to a Japanese internment camp during the war. And this guy that ran the donut shop right near the Fox Lot, I went in there for a cup of coffee before a meeting, and he goes, I used to live on that lot when it was an internment camp. He was an old man.
Japanese?
No, it's weird. He was Italian.
He
Nah,
just liked
Japanese.
making fun of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were rounded up, irregardless of their citizen status, length of residence, and they were could take only as much as they could carry. They were put in crude, cramped quarters. In Western states, they were put in thousands of families lived and were interrupted and in some cases destroyed by an executive order. Many lost businesses, farms, and loved ones as a result.
Oh, it's
Is that terrible? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's a bad chapter in our history.
Yeah.
Among many others, but that's a bad one. And recent.
Yep. Letters to the editor.
All right, here's a positive.
Let's get to positive.
Story.
Manolo Matos, not Ricky Martin's cousin. I'm from Puerto Rico, and Roberto Clemente is a national hero to us. He was a beast at baseball, but his humanitarian actions all across Latin America is what I am most proud of him for. Was this an essay in 6th grade? Having said that, let DeSantis ban his book in Florida. The backlash from this action will have such a reaction from the almost 1.2 million Puerto Ricans living in Florida that it might turn out to be a good thing. Sadly, he's probably not going to run for re-election in Florida because I think he's probably going after the Republican nomination to the presidency. Well, I think you're right.
Well, let's state it for the record. Manolo Matos thinks Roberto Clemente's book should be banned.
Yes.
He wants it banned.
Wants it banned.
Nice job, Manolo. Way to represent Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that's great. Will he run for? Yeah, of course he's running for president. He hasn't announced yet, though, right?
No, but it's getting, close, and that it's likely because Trump is turning up the heat in going after him.
Yeah, didn't he give him a new nickname?
Which I love. Yeah,
what
I
is
forget
it?
What it was.
Meatball or something?
Did he call him Pudgy? Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Something about his stature.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oh.
All right, let's get down to.
I don't know.
Oh, let's go down. Let's get even sadder. Obituaries.
And that's all, folks.
Yeah, so I added this today. Where is it? Is it below Help Wanted? There it is. Raquel Welch, actress and 60s sex symbol, is dead at 82. I can read a little here, but we can just talk about her. Mrs. Welch's Hollywood success began as much with a poster as with the film it publicized, starring in 1 Million Years BC, which was a film that came out in 66. She was a cave woman, and she posed in a rocky prehistoric landscape wearing a tattered doeskin bikini and grabbed the spotlight by the throat with her defiant, alert to everything, take no prisoners stance and her dancer's body. She was 26 then. It had been 3 years since Marilyn Monroe's death, and the industry and the country needed a goddess.
And she was a goddess. Oh, my God.
In 1998, Playboy named the 100 sexiest female stars of the 20th century. Miss Welch came in third behind Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield. Bridget Bardot was fourth. Anyway, Raquel Welch, to any of the young listeners, she burst on the scene, but in the 70s, she was just the icon of beauty.
Yeah.
I mean, it was that 70s. I think now a lot of what sort of ideal MILF, if you will, I think she informed a lot of what people have in mind when they say that term.
She was just, like you said, she was a dancer. And, I looked at some videos of her before the show because I just
never nude.
I looked on the a porn site to see if there was any nude videos of her, and there's some side boob, and but she always had her clothes on. She gets raped in one scene, but you don't see any nudity. But she was just stunning. She was so goddamn gorgeous, and she was dark skinned. I think her dad was
she's
Colombian
Latina
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Bolivia.
Beautiful
I think. Yeah.
skin, Bolivian.
And they said she was advised, because now it's like such a flex, if you can say, like she would, and in her late life, in the last 20 years, she was very proud and kind of reclaimed that heritage publicly. But her first husband's last name was Welch, and every one of her agents and managers told her to keep that name and not to use Tejada, which is the name she was born with in Chicago in 1940. So she turned 30 in 1970, and she was so sultry and amazing in the 70s.
Yeah.
And her cleavage, I mean, I remember being a young boy, and she was in The Three Musketeers. She actually won a Golden Globe, I believe, for being in The Three Musketeers. Well, she could not have been sexier. It like blew my mind.
All right, let's assume that you would have wanted to have sex. You're 30 years old. You want to have sex with Raquel Welch. At what age would she be too old for you to have sex with her?
Probably next week. She's still keeping it together.
I think there's some people you can talk to.
Yeah. Now's my shot.
Yeah. All right. Let's cheer up after that horrible news and go to the Sunday Funnies.
Yeah.
So Leroy and Loretta are standing there. He's in front of the laptop. He's got those drunk bubbles near his face, so he's clearly intoxicated. And he goes, I had a little wine when I did our tax refunds. We should be getting $2 million refund.
Wait. Hold on. Where are we?
The Lockhorns.
Oh, Jesus. I'm literally looking at Hager.
Oh, I forgot Haggard. I skipped right past him.
And I thought those drunk things, I'm like, I think those are fight symbols, but they look like they could be drunk also. So I'm like, what? And then it's like, that's a lot of money for a Viking.
Yeah.
Who's doing his taxes?
All right, so Hager the Horrible. Hager is sword fighting with another gentleman, and then Lucky, his friend, is standing to the side, and he goes, "You've been fighting for 20 minutes. What's taking so long?" And then the guy he's fighting goes, "And then guess what he told his wife?" And Hager goes, "Go on, go on." And then Lucky says, "Oh, it's Gareth the Gossip." Guess what he told his wife? He told her he didn't rape that girl. Go on, go on.
Go on, go on.
Guess what he told his wife? That the scratch marks on his face were from some branches when he was riding his horse.
Hot gossip out of that guy. All right, now we're back to the Lockhorns.
Let's get to the far side.
Oh, this again. Well, Justin, I think, sent some new ones this week, but this was from the first batch, and I like this one. So let me see. How would I do this one? So this guy, it's old school. It's like the Renaissance type thing even before. No, but before. This old, although it should look like he's in a castle. Anyway, this guy's painting, and another person comes in the room and goes, "So, Andre, the king wants to know how you're coming with, quote, St. George and the Dragon." And you see the artist's eyes are like, uh-oh. And you see the painting, and it's St. George, and he has his foot in a wagon, like a little kid's wagon.
So stupid.
It's so stupid, but I like it. Zoinks!
Right. So now we got Blondie.
Yes, we do.
She's got on a pink top with kind of a brooch and a black skirt, and he's putting his jacket on to go out the door. "Have you figured out what you're going to say to your boss?" He goes, "Not exactly. After I say good morning, boss, I'll just wing it." And then he goes, "Today's the day I'm going to demand a raise, and I won't take no for an answer." And she says, "Remember, dear, you have a backbone of solid steel." Where'd she come up with that one? Mm-hmm. He goes, "Yes, I do have a backbone of steel, don't I?" And she goes, "You certainly do, sweetheart." And then he kisses her and says, "I'll remind the boss that I can find another office manager job any day of the week." And she goes, "Of course you can, honey." And then he walks out the door full speed ahead. Door closes. He stops, looks like a fucking idiot, then turns around and goes, "Listen, Remind me one more time about the backbone of steel thing. And that's the point where Blondie needs to go, you know what, honey? I can't prop up this marriage or you any longer. This is a fucking joke. I'm done.
What this should have been is he gets 5 feet outside the door, looks at us, then turns around and goes, hey, honey, she's already doing the pool boy.
Yes.
Like he wasn't supposed to come back. She has her Wednesday routine, and
Right.
she's got her feet in the air, and she's finally living her best life.
And she's saying to the pool boy, you got a bone of steel. You got a cock of steel. That's what she's telling him. And he believes it. He doesn't need to be reminded again and again. He knows he's got a cock of steel. I do right now, just looking at her.
And then it's a funny comic because he could be like, oh, never mind. I'll figure out my backbone of steel, honey. Never mind.
Right.
And then it works.
Because he's a cuck.
There it is.
If we could add in the element that she's cheating on him, I could start to buy this comic strip.
Right. And he deserves it, so it would feel just.
Yes.
I like that too.
All right, here's what else feels just. We've finished just another Sunday Papers. We thank you guys for your patience, even though this news is going to be a little stale by Sunday. But unfortunately, I had to be pulled out of town.
You know what won't feel that stale is the humor, because there wasn't that much of it. At least I'm speaking for myself.
Well,
I got to get it going.
Feel free to, read the script and write some jokes. That might help.
Yes, that is true.
As we're hitting record, he's going, I didn't see that story. Is that in there?
What story was that? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, but thank you for listening, everybody.
Thanks
Thank you for
listening,
showing up.
everyone. Yep. And
there's no Super Bowl this Sunday.
No, it's going to be,
So glad
I
we
feel
could be
like
here for you.
It is very difficult. I feel like this is like post-breakup feeling when football season ends. I miss it. I feel sad. I feel betrayed. And I guess I can watch some hockey, but that just feels like meaningless breakup sex.
Well, the spring training has started, but whatever. Baseball has some new rules this year. I guess we'll get into those at some point. But
oh, yeah? All right.
Is that stat still around? Remember that stat that used to be, it's the spousal abuse, the worst day for it, with the most like spousal abuse, like spikes on Super Bowl Sunday or something like that?
Is that right?
Oh, no. Yeah. That was a very popular statistic that would be told, but I don't know if it's based in reality, and I don't know what the deal is with it.
I wonder if they can track it by city and see if there was more spousal abuse in Philadelphia than there was in Kansas City.
I'm going to guess that most weeks that's true. and then this year it's especially true.
Yeah. Well, I can't abide by that because I love Philadelphia. And I can't wait to see everybody there March 9th through 11th at Helium Comedy Club. All right, let's do it. Thanks to the Midcoast Media, Chris and Key and Beth and John and everybody that makes the show possible. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys sending your artwork and your music. And I guess we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. I mean, everyone should take it easy.
Take it easy.
There it is.
3, 2, 1.
Let's go. I got this. I am now in my underwear.
Happy news, sad news. Happy news, sad news. Hey now.
I am now in my underwear. Take it easy.